Hey everyone, it's Taylorverse and welcome back to I Hate Myselfie by Shane Dawson. We're starting off with my birthday suit. I didn't know that was gonna be the way that this started. That was ironic as fuck. I'm going to start this off by saying I am not a fan of swimwear. Any way you look at it, it's underwear that you pee into. The material always feels like rejected scraps from a shitty Halloween costume, and whoever thought using Velcro instead of zippers was a good idea needs to be shot. Up until I was 18, I had never even tried on a swimsuit. Wait, Velcro? I've never had Velcro in a swimsuit. Okay then. My outfit of choice at the local pool was jean shorts and a shirt I could really get lost in. Sometimes when I lie in bed, I can still hear the suction sound of my fingers pulling my wet shirt from the deep cleavage beneath my boy tits. One time I even wore my grandmother's moo-moo to the beach. I'm not gonna lie, getting out of the water with all that wet polyester clinging to my curves made me feel like Bo Derek in 10. If my grandmother and I had sported that moo-moo side by side in a trashy magazine, I think we would have gotten the coveted Ward Best title, but I disagree. Oh, but I digress. Son of a bitch. On my 18th birthday, I stood naked in front of my zit cream-covered mirror and stared at my body. Really stared. I was a man now, and I wanted to see what I was working with. Sure, I had great hair. Thank you, Mom. And extremely hairy shoulders. Fuck you, Dad. But I couldn't stop staring at my loose skin. After high school, I lost around 150 pounds, and I still had all the stretched out saggy skin. My body looked like that painting with all those melting clocks. My droopy chest and hangy stomach were like cartoon frowny faces. Of course, when I would lie down, I looked like a fucking supermodel. I'd just tuck all that skin under my back and armpits and suddenly transform into a Greek god. But as I stood in that mirror and saw that frowny face staring back at me, I realized I had to do something about it. My first idea was to use duct tape. Now, for some reason, my family had duct tape at our disposal at all times in my house. I thought everyone did. Is that just a southern thing? I'm not sure why. We were getting ready to kidnap a girl. Oh, were we getting ready to kidnap a girl who was visiting shore during her family cruise? Were we trying to tape up all the wicker furniture I had broken over the years? Whether the reason, we had a shit ton of it. So I grabbed 3 rolls, locked my bedroom door, and started shaping. I was like an artist working on a sculpture, working all my clay into a form that could pass as a normal human body when clothed. Each long piece of tape was wrapped tighter than the last. I got to the end of the 3rd roll and looked in the mirror. What I saw wasn't the Greek god I was hoping for. I looked more like a can of pastry dough that had popped open in a few places. The tape was a failure, but lucky I got rid of all that shoulder hair when I had to rip off 3 rolls worth of industrial-grade duct tape from my fucking skin. After that, I made a few more failed attempts at creating my dream body. Some involved saran wrap, chip clips, a child's wetsuit from Target, even super glue. That last one didn't end too well. But then an idea so genius, so inventive, so emotionally scarring popped into my head. My mother's one-piece swimsuit. I have so many memories of my mother's swimsuit. Even as a young kid, I remember wondering, is my mom a whore? The suit was tight black and had an open back. It even had a little keyhole hole in the front to show off that belly button, but still hide the C-section scar. It was tasteful yet sensual. One time I even found a suggestive picture of her wearing it in a box labeled divorce stuff in the hallway closet. She hadn't worn it for years, so I figured the baton should be passed. It was time to give that suit a new story, a new master. It was time to give that suit its second life. So I waited till she was at work and snuck into her room and started hunting. I looked in every drawer of every dresser and I couldn't find it, although I did find some of her 80s spandex workout clothes, which were a solid plan B. I went to the hallway closet and looked in the box marked Goodwill. And there it was, the tight black suit with the worn-out crotch pad. Side note, what is a crotch pad for? Is it to protect the vagina from the impact of a big wave? Or maybe have a stronger barrier between vagina and sand? I can imagine how uncomfortable a sandy vagina is. Almost as uncomfortable as when Sam would get into my loose underboob skin. See, women, I relate to you. I grabbed the suit and ran to my room. This time I left the door unlocked. I was kind of an exhibitionist. I slipped one leg in, then the other, and I hoisted it up all the way to my hairless shoulders. I packed in all the skin like I was tucking a king-sized bedsheet into a twin-sized mattress. I stood up straight and then looked in the mirror, and the results were more beautiful than I had ever imagined. If you squinted one eye and kind of went lazy with the other, I kind of looked like a normal guy wearing a black tank top. I put on my jeans and threw on a t-shirt and looked in the mirror once again. This was the first time in years I had worn just a t-shirt. Usually it was a big sweatshirt to hide my body or a cargo jacket with lots of pockets. But that day, my 18th birthday, it was just a shirt. I heard a honk and ran outside to show off my new body. It was my friends ready to take me out for my big celebration, Denny's and Knott's Berry Farm. Hey, I grew up in Long Beach. What did you expect? Shane, nice shirt. I still remember my friend complimenting me when I got into the back seat. I casually replied, "Oh, thanks, I don't know, I got it from Target or whatever." The truth was, I had gotten it at Macy's months before, and had been saving for it when my body was flat enough to wear it. And it cost about $30, by the way. Yeah, it was an investment in my future. So we drove to the amusement park, and the whole time talked about what rides we were going to go on. I hadn't been on that many of them because I was always too afraid I wasn't going to fit. Oh, fuck. Mood. Fucking mood. Ugh. I had been kicked off a roller coaster back when I was fat, so the thought of getting on one again was horrifying. Almost as horrifying as having to wear my mother's pre-divorced one-piece under my clothes. Seriously, the fucking mood. Oh my god. Oh. The last time we went to Dollywood, I got fucking kicked off a roller coaster because my fat ass could not get in, and it was so close to working. Ugh. And they told me, like, which one would, like, which roller coasters had fat people seats and what those seats were. And I didn't even want to try those. I was just done. Like, fuck that. When we got out of the car, I felt the wind flowing through my shirt, and I made an audible ah sound. It was probably creepy to my friends, but to me, feeling the air that close to my body was a sensation I had only dreamed of. We walked to the front gates and got out our tickets. We had printed them at home because that was the cool thing to do, that and sneaking your own candy into the park. I think I had about 3 packs of peanut butter cups tucked in my crotch pad. Thanks, Mom. Next, the security guard shouted as we made our way up to the front of the line. I noticed that people were having to take off their jackets and hats because they were setting the metal detectors off. Thank God I'm not wearing the jacket I used to. I thought to myself, thank God all I have on is my... Oh, wait. Oh, God. I ran my fingers down my back and noticed my mother's swimsuit had a metal clasp. What did that mean? Was I going to have to take off my shirt? How was I going to explain to the security guard I wasn't packing a knife? I was just wearing my mother's swimsuit underneath my clothes. Not only were all my friends with me, but literally everyone from my old high school worked there. At that moment, I started planning my escape. Should I fake a heart attack? Crap, that only worked when I was fat. Okay, what about pretending to have a seizure? That's a thing, right? Spontaneous seizures? As I was about to make my choice, I heard the dreaded next and had to face my fears head on. First, the security guard patted me down. I'm gonna be honest, I was excited. I'm sure he was just he was just petting down a normal dude, but to me, I was a normal dude. He was probably not feeling any of my extra skin. He probably thought I just had a normal body, maybe even pecs. Granted, it was just my boob skin protruding outward, but hey, if he thought it was pecs, I wasn't gonna fight him. Then came the metal detector. Thank God my suit was water resistant because the sweat was pouring. Beep. Are you hiding anything, man? His eyebrows furrowed at me like I was packing something dangerous. Only 3 packs of peanut butter cups, but you can't blame me. The prices on snacks here are pretty ridiculous. I laughed uncontrollably for a good 20 seconds. Turn around, kid. I turned around facing my friends, who were all laughing. One said, "Uh-oh, he's gonna frisk you. Happy 18th birthday." I know I should have been scared of getting a gloved finger up my ass, but I was more afraid of him seeing that I had on Kirstie Alley's Oprah reveal outfit underneath my outfit. I'm just gonna lift up your shirt a little. Is that okay? No, it's not okay. If you lift up my shirt, then everyone here is going to see my keyhole cutout, and there's no way I can pretend it's just an undershirt I got at Target. Who would believe that Target sells undershirts with keyhole cutouts? But, of course, I said, okay, sure, just not too high, have back knee. Nice save. His hand lifted my shirt up in the back, and he paused, confused. What is this? He asked under his breath. It's a swimsuit. Aren't there water rides here? Another nice save. Yeah, but isn't this like for chicks? My heart started racing. My friends were trying to read our lips. What's going on? Hurry up, Shane. One of my friends screamed as I literally diarrheated myself in panic. I'm going to go get my boss to make sure this is okay. Hold on. Your boss? Why do we need to bring more people into this? Why can't this just be a quick and easy embarrassing moment? Why do we have to make this a whole fucking spectacle? This is getting ridiculous. I wish I had just stuck to tape. Excuse me, sir. Can you lift your shirt? Said the boss, who was filing her nails while she was investigating the situation. Obviously, it's not that serious, so why are we doing it? Sure, ma'am. I lifted the back of my shirt slightly. More, please. So I did. More? Sir, I need to see your whole back. Why? Do you really think I have a knife taped to my spine? Because if I did, I would have already killed myself with it. Sure, I slowly lifting, trying to keep the keyhole cut out in the front covered, but it was moving too slowly, and the boss had a lot of nothing to get back to, so she grabbed my shirt and ripped it up. Gasp, shock, confused noises, all of these things coming out of my friend's mouth. Then came the boss's laughter. Oh my God, you wearing a women's swimsuit? You a kinky motherfucker, aren't you? The boss thought this was the funniest thing she'd ever seen. I didn't know what would be more embarrassing, telling the truth or just going along with the kinky story. He's free to go. Have fun in there, beautiful. Well, I'm glad she had a blast, because now it was time for me to explain to my friends what had just happened. I stood to the side while they got checked for metal materials, and of course all of them were clean. They all walked up to me, my heart racing. I thought I was going to pass out. Blood started rushing to my head, and I was sweating. What was I going to say when they asked me while I was wearing a women's swimsuit? Who's ready to ride the boomerang? One of my friends screamed. A collective yell of excitement came from the rest of the group, who had headed towards the first ride. They didn't ask. They didn't care. They were my friends, and it didn't matter to them. A tear fell from my eye as I screamed, "Let's do it!" We ran into the park and had an awesome day. Thanks, Mom, for my birthday suit. internet famous. It was 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, and I was dining at an incredibly fancy restaurant, eating incredibly fancy food with my incredibly sophisticated friends. Okay, I'm lying. We were eating shitty, cheap Mexican food with what was probably dog meat in the taco filling and talking about all the times we had charted. For those of you who don't know, charted is a term to describe the classy act of simultaneously coming and farting. Oh. Interesting. It was a very in-depth conversation that went on for about 2 hours and 2 baskets of chips too long. As I was mid-story about one accident, during which my dog licked my butthole while I was masturbating, and I didn't push him away. Come on, we've all been there. A table nearby started yelling my name. I turned to look, and what I saw was a familiar sight. It was a few teenagers with their incredibly confused parents. Shane, who's that? The guy from the internet. That conversation between child and parent doesn't go too well when the child isn't actually a teen. I've had way too many 8-year-olds scream, "That's the man from the internet," to their parents in the middle of a crowded Target. Luckily, this time it was a sweet and innocent and appropriate, so I walked over to the table and took pictures with them. Little did I know, this wouldn't be the last table of people who would notice me that night. The next group wouldn't be nice, but I'll get to that later. The whole idea of being recognized in public is something that I never imagined would ever happen to me, much less that I'd be comfortable with it. As a kid, all I wanted was to be invisible. Not because I wanted to sneak into my guy friends' rooms to compare their dick sizes to mine, but because I didn't want anyone to notice me. I was never the class clown, and I did everything I could to make myself blend into the background. Whenever I went to a store, I would try to color coordinate my outfit to the store's color scheme so I could blend into the walls. That didn't always work out well because customers would assume I was an employee and constantly ask me for help, which was the opposite of being invisible and also the opposite of fun. I can't tell how many old women I had to help reach the elderly pads on the back shelf at Target. I threw all my red shirts away after that. The first time I was recognized for my YouTube videos was when I was 18 years old, and I was going to the doctor to get a physical. This was the first time I had let a doctor see my goodies, so I was extremely nervous going into it. I spent an hour that morning manscaping in my bathroom. I wasn't very good at it. My razor was so covered in blood, you would have thought it had telekinetic powers. At the doctor's office, I sat in the waiting room and stared at my blank phone, pretending to read a text. This was before there were apps, so it was a lot harder to pretend you were busy. I can't imagine standing in an elevator now next to a stranger and not having apps to help me avoid eye contact. Sounds horrible. The doctor's assistant walked out to greet me, and she had an expression on her face I'd never seen before. It was a look of someone who had just seen a dead person or a leprechaun. She appeared to be in shock and didn't move for a good 5 seconds. Man, I wish I'd had an app. Those 5 seconds felt like an eternity. Oh my God, you're Shane Dawson. Hi, do I know you? At the time, my videos weren't getting very many views. I probably only had around 5,000 subscribers, and the only people who left comments were family members and people telling me to get AIDS and die. So it was basically just family and friends. Yeah, I watch your videos. You do? Yep, every week. My screen name is Rachel P. Flower. Oh, I think I've seen you in the comments. Are you the one who told me to sit on a sword and kill myself? Fuck. No. Oh, I hope I get to meet that person one day. I'm sure he's lovely. So what are you doing here? Getting a physical. Then reality hit me. As I told her I was getting a physical, her face went from, "I just saw a leprechaun," to, "I'm a cartoon dog, and I just saw a cartoon steak." Her eyes were wide, and her mouth was practically foaming. This fan was going to see my everything. This was too much. This was much more than taking a selfie. This was showing her and everythingy. I tried to keep cool, hoping that maybe it was just her job to send me onto the examination room and then leave me alone with the doctor to do our uncomfortable business. Well, come on back. I followed her to the doctor's office and she asked me to sit on the bench. She took a gown out of the closet and handed it to me. Here, change into this and leave the back undone so the doctor can have easy access to your anus. She left the room and I froze. I didn't even think I had an anus at this point. I was so full of nerves that it had completely froze up. Closed up. Fucking hell. I tried to compose myself and put on my horribly unflattering gown. Just as I finished changing, the assistant walked back in. "Oh, the doctor will be in soon. I'm just going to check your vitals really quickly." She sat on a stool and swiveled over me. She got so close that her knee was up against my poorly shaven balls. The only thing between her knee and my sad sack was a gown thinner than Bible paper, and I was praying to Jesus that it wouldn't rip. "So, working on any new videos?" "Nope. Just trying not to die of humiliation at this point." "Is this your first physical?" "Yeah. The closest I've ever had to a physical was my mom cleaning out my dick cheese when I was 12. "She did that until you were 12? So, who's the doctor? Is he nice?" "It's a she, and she's awesome. I showed her some of your videos last week during our lunch break. She loved them." "Oh my god, this isn't happening. God doesn't exist." "Oh, really? Wow, that's cool." "Yeah, I told the whole office you were here. They're all so excited. We love when you put on that wig and act all ghetto. I can't stop sweating. I want to die." "Awesome. Alright, I'll go get the doctor. Don't go anywhere." "I won't. I'm gonna fucking jump off the motherfucking window." The door opened and in walked the doctor. "She seems normal enough," said my brain in disturbing denial. "I'm sure she doesn't remember me at all. She must be 50 years old. Maybe she has bad memory. Maybe she got amnesia on the way to the office today. Hey, where's your wig? I didn't recognize you." She laughed hysterically. My anus clenched. "I'm kidding. How are you?" "I'm okay, just ready to get this over with." "Me too. Do you know how many balls I've touched today? More than all the Jonas Brothers put together. Hey-yo!" She went for the high five. My anus clenched. "Sorry, just trying to keep up with you, you crazy guy. So let's get this started, shall we?" She walked up to me and asked me to lie down. As I lay down, I looked at the ceiling and envisioned my head getting cut off by the ceiling fan. Anything to get my mind off the current situation. She reached her hand up my gown and grabbed my balls. She was gentle and polite about it. I closed my eyes and just let it happen. Things were going pretty smoothly until... Hey, douche nay nay. That was the moment I knew my life would never be the same. I was no longer just a stranger getting his balls fondled by a doctor. I was a YouTube guy getting his balls fondled by a doctor who wanted him to tell offensive jokes in a ghetto woman's voice. From that point on, it only got crazier. Over the next 7 years, I would be stopped for pictures while I was peeing in a urinal, while I was vomiting outside of a theme park roller coaster, even while on the side of the road after I got into a car accident. But I would also learn how to handle it all surprisingly well. Nowadays, I never take it for granted, and I know that if it wasn't for people watching my videos, I wouldn't be able to do any of the amazing things I've been able to do in the last several years. The most insane situation was the first VidCon in 2010. For those who don't know, VidCon is a convention for YouTubers to come together and meet their audiences. It now has over 30,000 guests every year, but back in 2010, audience was only a tenth of that. I was invited as a special guest and couldn't wait to meet the people who had been supporting me. I put on my ugliest vest, which I thought was fashion forward, and headed to the convention center. During the drive over, I got a call from one of the people working at VidCon who sounded like he was in a crisis mode. "Shane, where are you?" "On my way. What's going on?" "Did you tweet that you were on your way?" "Yes, is that okay?" "No! There's a riot at the front door." "A riot? Come on, that can't be that bad." I heard a scream in the background, and I'm pretty sure I heard, "I can't feel my legs," but I could have been mistaken. Oh my god. When you get here, we have 3 security guards. Text me when you are out front and we will assign them to you. 3 security guards? I'm a YouTuber, not Obama. I make dumb videos on the internet and teach kids about sex. Why was I getting treated like a famous person? It made no sense to me, and I was super uncomfortable. I guess I never felt worth that kind of attention. I still don't. But enough of my self-hatred, let's get back to the story. So I pulled up to the entrance and I saw a crowd of over 1,000 kids freaking out and knocking each other over. Some of them were holding signs with my name on them and others were wearing shirts with my face on them. Seeing my face splattered on plastered on a bunch of underage girls' chests was definitely not something I've ever thought would happen. Just like I never expected my actual face would ever be on an of-age girl's chest in my life. I had a lot of emotions flowing through me, and I had an instant panic attack. As I stepped out of the car, I was surrounded by teenagers. 3 bodyguards walked up and took me by the arms. They escorted me through the crowd, and to say I looked like a douchebag is an understatement. I was a YouTuber surrounded by bodyguards. It doesn't get any douchier than that. Luckily, I was led to an area in the convention center where I got to do a meet and greet with the fans, and I met every single one of them. I stood there for 8 hours, hugging, taking selfies, signing mothers' boobs, and just having conversations with them about what was going on in their lives. It was amazing. It was at that moment that I didn't want to be invisible anymore. I felt like I was really making a difference in these kids' lives, and because of my videos, some of them were able to have a happy escape. It was a magical day, and I will never forget it. Which leads me back to the shitty Mexican restaurant on a Saturday night not so long ago. As I was leaving, my body decided that I needed to release all that questionable meat, and I needed to release it now. I ran to the bathroom, but it was locked, so I stood and waited while gripping my loud stomach. A family at a nearby table made eye contact, and each had that similar, just saw a leprechaun face. Familiar. Fucking hell. I prayed that they wouldn't come up to me, because at any moment my stomach was going to make butt gravy, and I did not want them to smell what I was cooking. But it was too late. The leprechaun had been spotted. The family ran up to me and surrounded me by the bathroom. It was a mom holding a baby, 2 12-year-old kids, and a grandma. They were all speaking at once and asking for a shit ton of selfies. I took pictures with the baby and the baby mama, and just the baby. At one point, I'm pretty sure I was sitting on the grandma's lap while she was in her wheelchair. It got weird. Then the bathroom door opened, so I politely told them goodbye. But to them, goodbye meant, let's go in the bathroom and watch him poop. They all crowded into the small bathroom with me and started asking for advice on how to get popular on Instagram as if I'm friends with PewDiePie. I was trying to answer all their questions, but I had some of my own PewDiePie to make. Nice. So I tried my hardest to hint that I was ready for them to leave. Then a waitress walked in. I was relieved because I thought for sure she was going to tell them to get out and possibly give me some kind of free taco gift card. Instead, she screamed, "Hey, do shenane!" I now was in a single-person bathroom with an entire family and half the crew of the restaurant. Yet I was still grateful and enjoyed how excited they were, until one of the 12-year-olds hit me with a truth bomb. I thought you would be hotter in person. You're kind of ugly, lol. I didn't know what was more offensive. The fact that she called me ugly, or the fact she used LOL in her everyday language. Either way, I wanted to be invisible. It was the first time since I was young that I had that feeling of wishing I could dissolve into the background. It's like she reached into my bean-filled body and ripped out my soul with her hand and crushed it. I went home after that and lay in my bed for a good few hours and cried. I cried hard. I hadn't cried like that since Taco Bell came up with the Dorito taco thing. Except there were no happiness in my tears, just heartache. I considered taking a break from YouTube. The thought of going out in public and possibly seeing a fan made my heart shrivel up. What if they thought I was ugly too? What if every fan that has ever met me went back home and told their friends, "Oh my God, I had no idea Shane Dawson was deformed. LOL. I called my girlfriend Lisa, and she calmed me down and talked me off the ledge." I know it hurts, but just remember that's one person. There are millions of people who love you, and if they saw you in public, they would be happy that they wouldn't even notice. They would be so happy that they wouldn't even notice how ugly you are. Gee, thanks. I'm kidding, you aren't ugly. You're the sweetest, most beautiful guy in the world, and there are so many people out there who agree with me. That girl was young and probably so nervous that she just blurted out something stupid. Please don't let it affect you. I know, it's just hard. Remember all the kids you met at VidCon? Yeah? Did any of them call you ugly? No, I guess not. Because they all love you so much. You're like a friend to them. Or a creepy but loving older brother. And if you stopped making videos, it would break their hearts. They would feel worse than you're feeling right now. Remember that. And I did. The next day I woke up, showered, tried to make myself look less ugly, and filmed a video. I never want to go back to being invisible, even if it means having to deal with the occasional person saying something rude to me. It's worth it. But you know what's not worth it? Eating at a Mexican restaurant that has a C rating on the window. Trust me, not worth it. Hello? Hold up. There we go. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Oh, how to survive a horror movie. When I was a kid, I would run around wait, hold up. Alright. We got 13 more days to read this. And we're at 47%. I'm gonna start doing 3 chapters in the videos. That way, we for sure get through it. So, if you, don't really have time for all 3 chapters, just, pause in between chapters and come back later. When I was a kid, I would run around my house with a knife and pretend to murder my family. Oh, fuck me. Oh, God. I know this sounds like something you might hear in a recording of a serial killer's therapy session, but I promise it's not that bad. I've had an obsession with horror films since I was around 5 years old. One day I walked into the living room while my older brother was watching a movie called Child's Play. It was about a kid whose doll tried to kill him, which I found perfectly plausible because of all the terrible things I forced my dolls to do. I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd eventually turned on me. Ask Furby. Actually, don't bother, I took out his batteries ages ago because he would keep his fucking... Oh, so he would keep his fucking mouth shut. I'm having trouble reading today. Anyway, so my obsession with horror only grew when I saw the movie Scream a few years later. From the first scene, when Drew Barrymore gets hacked into pieces and hung up on a tree in front of her parents' house, I was addicted. There's something so satisfying about watching a fictional character get ripped to pieces and splattered all over the walls. I'm sure this says something about me as a person and my mental state, but whatever. I like what I like, and what I like is the sound of a knife scraping bone beneath the skin. Sue me. I fucking love horror, so I get it. I'm also a fucking horror addict. Every time my friends would come over, I would force them to play the scream game. Basically, it was me chasing them with a knife, and them having to defend themselves with whatever household items were around. The only rules were that we couldn't actually hurt each other, and whoever was the killer couldn't take off the mask. Because if you took off the mask, then it was just a kid running around trying to stab his friends, and even we knew that was too creepy. Around age 12, I made my first short film, and it was more disturbing than any scary movie you've ever seen. It was basically me naked in a bathtub full of ketchup choking to death on my own ketchup blood. I'm not sure what the plot was, but it definitely had a twist ending, and by twist ending, I mean it actually wasn't filmed by a creepy uncle in a dark basement. I think the reason I became so obsessed with watching people die in movies is because it was a way for me to feel in control. I had very little control over my life as a kid, and there was so much chaos. Shut the fuck up. So much chaos and turmoil around me. My parents were always fighting, and we had a lot of financial struggles. Watching horror films was a way for me to escape that and watch people who had even shittier lives than me. And to have a shittier life meant you had to be getting butchered by a 7-foot-tall monster with knives for fingers. Another attempt at control was to hold in my poop. I would hold it in for days, so much that when I burped, people ask, "Who farted?" Either way, my dream was to one day star in my own horror film, in which I could run around and get chased by an underpaid actor wearing a mask holding a rubber knife. That day finally came on my 23rd birthday. One of my good friends, Michael Gallagher, called me up and said he was directing a horror film called Smiley, and he wanted me to be in it. Before he could even describe the plot, I was already 1,000% in. I could already picture myself covered in blood, screaming for my life. I could also picture how many memes of me getting killed were going to be made by haters. I was pumped. He sent me the script, and it was a movie about a girl who gets stalked online by a killer who wears a mask with a smiley face carved into it. Not only did I have an epic death scene, but I also got to play the killer, twist ending. This time without homemade child pornography. Score. I showed up to the first rehearsal and met a couple of the other actors. It was the first time I had really acted in something other than YouTube sketches, so I was pretty nervous. I had stalked all of them on IMDb the night before, and was immediately intimidated by what I found. They'd all been in movies and TV shows, and some have been acting since they were kids, which meant that while I was running around chasing my friends with a knife at some shitty house in Long Beach, they were on some set in Hollywood eating craft service and trying to divorce their parents. They had the life we normal people only dream about. Most of them were actually really nice. My first scene was with the lead girl, who played my love interest. Having to act in love with someone you just met is incredibly awkward, especially when you just scarfed down a triple-layer burrito in the backseat of your car 15 minutes earlier and your breath smells like bean farts. Luckily, we decided to save the kiss until we got on set a few days later. That gave me plenty of time to get my mouth ready. I wanted it to be perfect for her. Not because I wanted her to fall in love with me or anything, but because I didn't want her to go on Twitter afterwards and say, "Oh my god, just kissed that Shane Dawson and he tasted like Chipotle diarrhea." So for the next few days, I ate 2 packs of mints a day, wore 4 coatings of ultra-glossy chapstick, and brushed my teeth in the mornings and at night. That last one was the most challenging for me. Up until a year ago, I didn't even know that brushing your teeth twice a day was the social norm. My philosophy was in the morning and that's it. Why would you do it before bed? Who are you trying to get all fancy for? It's sleep, not prom. The first week of production was great. I ate mass amounts of craft service, didn't fuck up my lines, and even taught was taught by a sassy extra how to twerk upside down with my feet against the wall. It was everything I had dreamed of as a kid, except for that twerking part. That wasn't a thing back then. But if it was, you better bet my ass would have been twerking all over my house and naked and covered in ketchup. Everything was going great up until the last day of the shoot. I should have known it was going to be rough, considering I'd had like 5 rape dreams in a row that night before, and I usually only have 2. I also had some serious back knee going on, and I know back knee doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you love popping zits as much as I do, and you have a cluster of ready-to-go whiteheads chilling in the unreachable part of your back, it's a nightmare. I used every item in my house I could find to try to pop them. At one point, I had a pair of scissors taped to a Swiffer. I shoved the Swiffer between my mattress and box spring. I got in a squat position and leaned back. Unfortunately, that just left me with numerous cuts and a really bloody Swiffer. Needless to say, as I walked up to the set that day, I already felt off-kilter. Since this was the first day we were shooting in a house, we had trailers set up outside. I was super pumped because I had never been inside one before. I'd heard stories of actors having sex and popping painkillers, and I was excited to do the exact opposite. I was planning on falling asleep and possibly giving myself an over-the-jeans handy. What can I say? I'm a tease. But as I walked into my trailer, I was stopped by a producer who was told that unfortunately there was a problem and I wouldn't be able to stay there. My first thought was, who clogged the toilet? My second thought was, for once it wasn't me who clogged the toilet. Awesome. But then as I walked away, I noticed another actor walking into my trailer and closing the door. Does he know the toilet's clogged? Should I tell him? He looks like he eats a lot of kale, so I'm assuming he's only gonna make the matter worse. The toilet isn't clogged. Oh. Then why am I not in there? Wait, what the fuck? Oh. I spit on my screen. Is this because you think I'm gonna do something nasty in there? Because I promise it's only above the jeans. No, it's because that actor requested a trailer, and it was the last one left. But it was mine. It had a sign with my name on it. Granted, it was spelled wrong, and I'm pretty sure someone extinguished their cigarette on it, but it was still mine. He's being kind of a diva. He said he would call his agent if he didn't get the trailer. Would you mind doing us a solid and letting him have it? Do I have a choice? The producer looked at me with a not really look that reminded me of when I used to visit the school nurse and ask if I was in my healthy rate range. So I sucked it up and headed inside the house. He told me that there was a room where I could hang out. He pointed to a door that had a "Don't Let the Cats Out" sign on it. Perfect. But I'm not a diva, so I threw my stuff down on some cats and whipped out my phone and looked up this actor's Twitter to see how many followers he had. I saw that he had less than 1,000 and I had 1,000,000. That gave me a good few minutes of shallow but necessary joy. I also loved that he gave his fans a pet name, yet every tweet... Yet every tweet that he would send out to them had like 0 likes or retweets. It felt like a gentle gift from Jesus. Anyway, the first scene was coming up, and it was the one I had been waiting for, the big kiss. Hope she wasn't allergic to cats. My friend, the director, walked up to me with the girl playing my love interest and let us know how it was going to go down. Okay, so you guys are going to slowly kiss and then make your way to the bed. Cool. This seemed to be going well. Just 2 professional actors about to make out on camera in front of hundreds of fat dudes holding up lights and holding in their farts. Totally easy. Everything was going great until another actress playing the part of my love interest's best friend walked over and grabbed her away from me. They walked to the other side of the room and looked like they were getting in some kind of intense conversation. You would have thought they were actually best friends and not just playing them in some horror movie. Me being the nosiest person in the world, I decided to walk over them and completely eavesdrop on the convo. Don't do anything you aren't comfortable with. What do you mean? I've done plenty of love scenes before, and the guy always tries to shove his tongue down my throat. One guy even flicked my nipple. What? Why? I don't know. I guess nipple flicking is a thing in Japan. It was a foreign movie. Anyway, the point is, don't let him do anything to you. I don't think he's going to. He seems sweet. So do the Japanese. Tell that to my nipple. I was pissed. How could this random actress who had never even spoken to me assume that I was some kind of pervert who was trying to fuck my co-star? If anything, I just wanted to do my job as quickly as possible and go home so I could finish my binge session on some terrible reality show about a family who has a worse life than me. So, as we got ready to do the scene, I noticed the crazy actress standing next to the camera, staring at my love interest with "Don't worry, I'm right here" eyes. I felt like I was about to make out with a girl while her overprotective mom watched. It was incredibly creepy, and because of my mommy issues, slightly a turn-on. Action! We went in for the kiss, and to say it was the worst kiss I've ever had would be an understatement. I've had better kisses from my gay uncle, and he likes to use tongue. Cut! The director pulled us aside. That was great. Let's do it one more time, but this time less like Amish kids experimenting with their siblings. So we tried again, and it somehow got worse. We did it about 5 times, and then the director took us aside. As we walked away, I looked over at the crazy actress, and she was giving my love interest a thumbs up. A thumbs up? For what? For the most incestuous love scene ever put on film illegally? Legally? This isn't working. The kiss is giving me goosebumps, but not in a good way. In an I just found out my dad likes butt play way. Why are you looking at me? I'm not. I'm looking at both of you. No, you aren't. Just me. Okay. It's looking a little forced on your end. Is everything okay? Am I doing something to make you uncomfortable? I swear I don't have a boner. This is just how my pants look when I sit. No, it's fine. Let's do it again. She walked back to the bed, and I stayed to talk to the director more. I think the other actress is getting in her head. She told her I'd flick her clitoris or something. What? I don't know. Some Chinese guy in a movie stuck his finger in her butt or something. I don't remember specifics. Well, just try to make her comfortable. Be charming. Be you. Have you met me? So I walked back over and sat on the bed next to my terrified lover. So, see any movies lately? No. You? I watched a documentary last night about these kids who killed their parents and then had sex in their beds. Smooth. The director called action one last time, and we went for it. It was slightly better, but still felt like I was forcing my comatose sister to make out with me. Then the crazy actress screamed out, "Okay, you guys got it." She grabbed my love interest and took her off set. Dude, what the fuck was that? The best we're going to get. No, I'm talking about the insane actress with the crazy people eyes and Adderall breath. Shut the fuck up. You forgot all the IMDb credits. Fucking IMDb. After that, I went home and thought about how horrible the kiss was. I couldn't stop thinking about it. A few weeks later, I got to see my love interest at an ADR session. ADR stands for Automated Dialogue Replacement, which is used when you have to record your voice and add it to the movie, usually because the microphone wasn't working on set. We talked about the awkward kissing situation, and she told me about how nervous she had been to kiss on camera. It was her first time, so I totally understood where she was coming from. She also said it didn't help that the crazy actress girl was trying to act like a big sister to keep her safe from all the big mean rapist actors on set. I'm not sure what gave that girl the impression that I was a rapey perv, but honestly, I was just happy she didn't assume I was gay like every other stranger I meet daily. The coolest part about the whole experience is that one day, when I have my own kid, I can show them their first scary movie ever, and it'll be the one that their daddy was in. I'll just skip the makeout scene. I don't want them to think that that's what kissing looks like. I'll just show them some porn for that. Good Lord. We're gonna end this episode here. Oh my God. So, hopefully, you made it through all of that. Since there was a third chapter now added to this. Whether you did it all in one watching sesh or split it up. I have fun reading to you guys. I don't know, like, I know other people can just, like, read this for themselves, but a lot of people like listening to books, so I figured, like, fuck it. And I really like reading to people, so yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.